I would like to introduce you to our new organization, International Design for the Disabled. Paul Marshall and I, Laura Dixon, hope to make our dreams come true. Given the opportunity to visit children in Peru, we became to realize a barrier in communication. The question became evident: why can't children or adults with disabilities have the opportunity to communicate bilingually? We have shared with you our mission statements. I felt visiting a world with other countries can be a barrier within itself. Imagine what it must be like for those who cannot speak, to sit side by side and only think of what the other is saying, feeling, or wanting. Paul commented, being blessed beyond measures to live in Canada and seeing the great need internationally, it's my deepest conviction. I must do what I can to educate and compassionately aid to those who are in need. I want to give the opportunity for people with disabilities to communicate in different languages. I am committed to bring Canadian youth to a deeper understanding of the great need they can serve in the field of disabilities. A young boy in his teens sat down with Paul, wanting to share his concerns and communicate with us. Paul's communication board became useless. We had a communication breakdown. Having children of my own and given the chance to work with children and adults with disabilities, I found myself at a crossroad in my career. How will I work with this child? He cannot speak or understand the English language. I cannot speak or understand his communication tools. I asked myself, how can I make this happen? I found translation books not very useful. This is where I started to realize I wanted to start my own business, not just for kids and adults in Canada, but worldwide. I want to go back to Peru and communicate with that child again. Our business direction is to design a bilingual tool for people. I want to enhance education for high school students. Imagine, given the opportunity for students to visit, help, and be a part of other cultures. I hope to broaden their perspectives on living the life through the eyes of the disabled. High school students need to get involved in cultural studies, and the students truly need to know they are wanted in many parts of the world. I look forward to providing more favorable conditions for the disabled to communicate bilingually. I want to break down the barricade where lack of communication is a concern. Imagine being in a hospital and not being able to speak. This tool will not only help the doctors and nurses, but the patient at hand. Families with different cultural backgrounds will be able to communicate with a disabled individual more effectively. Traveling to other countries will become easier. I will be able to communicate in any country and speak in many languages. This tool will help telephone and marketing without the need of a translator. Advocates like me will not have to interpret for a disabled individual. He or she will communicate in any language on their own. This will increase their independence. I started designing a translation page with the help of a friend in Peru. It then became obvious this tool could be used in larger areas, hospitals, schools, travel agencies, etc. Come with me and explore our venture in Peru. You will notice Paul and me sharing our adventure with a high school student from St. Dominic's in Bracebridge. Paul and I hope to continue to educate students on every trip. We all need to make our voices heard and help the children all over the world. Paul presented in Peru, which over 500 people attended. Parents, occupational therapists, teachers, children, and speech pathologists were among the many that were looking for new information and ideas. It was totally amazing. We became part of an excellent team worldwide. Speakers from US, Chile, Peru, Canada, Mexico, India, Costa Rica, and Argentina all presented at the conference on communication styles. Paul shared his lifelong experience on living the life of a disabled human being. People in the audience were looking for new ideas, hope, and direction from all of us. Paul, our high school student, and I did a short skit on what it's like to be left out of a conversation or task because of a disability. We hope our design tool will help this young boy and his mother. She cried after Paul's presentation because he inspired her and gave her hope for her son's development. BET stands for Bilingual Educational Tool. I hope with funding and donations this will become possible. After Paul's presentation, everyone stood up and gave him a standing ovation. I watched parents cry and professionals want more feedback. We were surrounded with questions, picture taking, and a lot of positive feedback. Here is Paul and our dear friend Dana. Dana is a Canadian and is married to a Peruvian gentleman. She was Paul's translator and helped him answer many questions from people in the audience. Paul reached out to many people and touched their hearts. We honestly feel that every child deserves the right to be heard. Dana took the three of us to a wonderful family. Paul shared his visions, his stories, and his dreams with this family, but would have liked to communicate with them on his own. A translation tool would have made this possible. Please help us in making our tool develop. Our high school student was given the opportunity to travel, visit children and family, and see the world in a different light. She felt needed, and this gave her career to become a teacher much more realistic. Children in Canada really need to understand other cultures and how they live. They need to respect others and what our country has to offer them. This young boy was uncomfortable, and people from the U.S. were willing to fit him into a new wheelchair. He wanted to communicate with these helpful people, but the language barriers were there: English and Spanish and a nonverbal child. We are not just there for the children. Occupational therapists, parents, etc. all rely on our help and advice. A young OT graduate on the far right is learning from an OT specialist. She assisted the OT and the parents so that they could assess their son's needs. The husband and wife team, who are an occupational therapist and technologist, are making the needed adjustments for an individual child's chair. Our communication tool could help them in their career. This mother received a better form-fitting chair for her son, along with a tray attached. She placed a picture symbol display underneath the tray, and he immediately began to point at the symbols. His mother was excited to see him initiate the response. I was given the opportunity to assist the OT as she felt the child's muscle tones and body alignment. The boy's mother carried him everywhere, and trust me, he was a heavy child. The OT managed to place him into his first wheelchair. It was a used chair, but we did our best. Here is a view of many helping hands of people who care. Can you not assist us in making a better communication tool for this child so he can independently communicate for himself? He wants to tell you where it hurts. This mother must have thanked me several times and gave me a hug. I finally understood why I needed to be there. Please, we need your help. Donations can be made out to International Design for the Disabled. Paul, our high school student from St. Dominic's, and me would like to thank you for taking the time to listen to our presentation. Thank you very much. Here is our contact information. We are in the process of designing our new website and hope to relocate to a new office space here in Muskoka. I would like to take this opportunity to once again thank you for your support. From Paul and Laura Dixon, I thank you.